What the hell is that? What's happening in this photo? Awakening Ragnarok? Let's just not. Let's pretend that no. Burgundy, ignore you for now. Please do not await Ragnarok. That seems like really bad for the planet. I prefer my skin on my body and not melted off in nuclear fire. At least for right now. Maybe in a few weeks we'll see if things change at all. We don't need to increase party unity. We're completely fine as is. So job charge. Job score is done. After that, we'll go for the Vista of the Future, 35 days. This will... Our support in the southern states as well as those in the Rockies will increase! Fantastic. Add expenses will reduce our support for more conservative voters. That's okay. If we can get more support in the south and the Rockies, I'll take it. Are any of you guys doing anything too crazy? I mean, you could still probably attack Katagna. Got Weimar advisors. American humanitarian aid. Political power gain. So I'm providing humanitarian aid to everybody except for the fascists, which I guess makes sense. We're sending American aid here? Yes. We're even sending it to the United Arab Emirates, who weren't even in the war. Everybody except for Ba'athist Iraq gets some support, apparently. They get more political power. Maybe they have some decisions they can take that kind of changes things around. I'm not too sure. And you'll be done soon as well. After that's done, we'll go for... well, we need to get the food stamps first. All is well. Fantastic. We'll improve social safety network in the country. Our support in the southern states and the Rockies will increase once again. It's costing us a ton of money. Like, it's so expensive. But that's okay. Let's go for... I mean, you're all 1970 tech. Let's go for fuel gain from... Make any sense? Let's go for, like, anti-tank capacity. That seems okay. So next we'll go for food stamp programs. And the economy. And the economy. And another presidential election has begun. Increase civilian budget. We'll decrease it for right now. It's going to make stability a little bit worse, but it is what it is. And it's now once again election season. The 1972 presidential election has begun. So we'll end the campaign, or not the campaign, we'll end today's stream once the election is finished. The NPP have a strong lead in every single state. Campaign in New England, sure. But last time it said that they had strong leads in a bunch of places, and the Republicans still won every seat but one. The NPP has a strong lead. It was insane. It's across the fucking board. We might lose some seats there, but we'll kind of see how things go. And the NPP also has a strong lead in every single Senate seat right now. Except for a handful that have some toss-ups. So, okay then. Seems possibly bad. Events or decisions. Don't worry about that. Oh dear. I mean, we'll see how this goes. We've now got a weak impact on healthcare. I mean, there's so many things we could have done. Like, imagine if we could have clicked any of these buttons at some point. We've had to do everything just through this. We're forcing everything through Congress. They're not happy about it. The food stamp program will finish in just a mere moment. After that, I guess we'll go for the Economic Opportunity Act. We still have the votes in Congress to get it done. We're getting more stability. The South and the Rockies won't like it, but they don't like anything we do, so who cares? But at that point, we can't do any more focuses because we just don't have the political power to do it. 8 days left. So I guess once we do these two, then we just focus on doing all the stuff in, I guess it does make sense. We're still dealing with the major oil crisis, which understandably has people a little bit upset. But I'm sure at some point it's going to end. Eventually. Solid NPP campaign. After that, let's go for the East Coast, I think. Okay, then we're going to go for the the Opportunity Act. We'll get that going. Our deficit is very much increasing by a lot. Every single factory we have right now is used for trade. $222 for 85%. Just incredible. Let's campaign on the East Coast. Campaign. I mean, LBJ, even if you... I mean, who's actually running in the election? Do we know quite yet? Because LBJ... Can he run for a third term? The only reason you can only run for 2 terms in the United States is because of FDR. Because he ran and won 4 elections. And then they passed the 18th Amendment? Which means, hey, you can only run for 2 constitutionally. So, but that didn't happen, I think, in the new order. So could LBJ win, like, run for another term? I don't know. We'll find out. Soon enough. Polls have been updated. We now have a strong lead basically everywhere. Which is incredible. Just insane to me. But I mean, last time it did show like a lot of seats flipping and basically nothing changed. So we'll see if these elections are really any different. I kind of am leaning towards they're going to kind of be the same. Let's make better tank upgrades here. Now that we can't do any of this because I don't have any political power, we will just finish off our military stuff up there. Support the Middle East as much as we possibly can. And hopefully once all these are done, we'll have finished the oil crisis. China modernizes. In 1962, Chinese President Gao Zhongwu announced his program to completely modernize China's economy. Over the years, he has systematically transformed China into an engine and breadbasket of the modern area. Feeding billions in the sphere and generating enough wealth to rival Japan. They are now perhaps the only nation in the prosperity sphere to rival Japan in industry and international economic protection. However, it must be noted that not all is well in China. The ancient nation is still plagued with a corrupt government and the fading encroachment of Japanese mega corporations. Even with all these obstacles, one great mountain has been climbed. China is no longer the sick man of Asia, and a century of humiliation is over. Got another campaign. So the conference. We'll see what China does. And what do we want to do? Because we had a good campaign. Good campaign in the East Coast, which we now have leads everywhere. The far right is growing. Mr. President, the latest polls are in. Well, it's not good. For the first time, a majority of respondents are saying they are feeling unsure about the cost of great society, fears that have been stoked by the Democrats and the far-right NPP, while higher taxes and more government control in our lives are starting to filter through the public. While the numbers of people who support the great society overall are still strong, we should prepare to face growing backlash as we expand it. I mean, luckily, I don't have any political power to expand it anymore, so they've got their wish. There are commenters and political scientists that are talking increasingly about the new polarization in American society, all revolving around your plans, with progressives on the left pushing to go even further than the administration wants, and the conservatives on the right who are demanding to halt the growth of government power, interference in the lives of citizens, and the undermining states' rights and the people in the middle are tired of both extremes. There we go. This is especially evident on the West Coast, where the majority are supportive of the Great Society in the beginning. Now support is dropping, and dropping a lot quicker than in other places. Namely, about the cost. This is only going to get stronger, divide more Americans, and lead to a virtual breakdown of society into an us versus them mentality that will make it even harder to pass laws. The social democracy goes up, authoritarian democracy goes up, and the liberals and the conservatives are losing some ground. I mean, right now, the biggest voting bloc is the center NPP. Ford debuts the Mustang 2. Trends rise and falls as taste shifts with the times, and from this, American muscle cars are no less exempt. Where a decade ago, horsepower and size were prized qualities of American car owner, now they are akin to the white elephants in Thailand. Delights to view from afar, but pains to afford and maintain. With the oil war and the hardships brought, America's taste have finally shifted in full towards fuel economy and cost. The now venerable Mustang would have suffered the same fate as the fellow burdensome beast, were not for a haste of its parent company's engineers. Plans were made in Dearborn to accommodate the gasoline rations and reigning economic slump to their car's design. Length and widths were cut short, gasoline V8s replaced with compact 14s or i4s, and frames modified to reduce noise and vibration as its dimensions shrink. Drawing from their failures of the Pinto, Ford set out to effectively downsize their flagship muscle car into a form suiting the American family's increasingly tight purses. The end result is the second generation Mustang, or the Mustang 2s, released with aplomb today. Seemingly satisfied with the compromise between economy and style, men with means have gone out to purchase Ford's new old car in droves. Analysts estimate the Mustang orders will reach more than 400,000 by New Year's, hopefully foretelling that Ford's greatest success will continue succeeding for another decade yet. So Hand of Kindness will be done soon as well. I mean, all of these will be done just about when... I mean, like, I'm thinking about this. Like, even with LBJ having 2 terms, you can't do all his focuses. Like, I don't think you have enough time to actually get all of this done. Especially with the oil crisis and stuff happening as well. Get to Great Society. Like, can you even finish this tree? I mean, we still don't even know who's running in the election yet. You guys are going to have your conference. What is going to happen? It'll be done in 13 days as well. China must unite against the greatest foe. I think China's going to go to war with Japan. Which probably benefits us, of course. A weak Japan, a weak Germany. Both those things are nice. Hitler acted alone. Don't know if that's necessarily true, but okay. So yeah, you're now going for opening the doors. You're distancing yourself from Hitler. And a new Reich. We'll see if Germany wants to kind of be more friendly towards us. After that, what do we want to campaign? Let's campaign, once again, the East Coast, because those are kind of like important areas that we want to maintain. Let's do a most direct approach. Doesn't make a big difference there so much. So it's May, June, July, August. We're like 5 months. 5 months away. Roughly from the election taking place. And no national focus. So is that... polls are updated. Did that not do anything? I mean, okay, China's not a puppet state. You are all puppets of China. So we'll see if that does anything. Like, will you go to war or not? I don't know. You are for, yeah, the timeout. I'm assuming we still don't have any factories for trading. No, we don't, because everything's for that goddamn crisis that we're facing at the moment. Italy has acquired nuclear weaponry. It's practically impossible to achieve the Great Society. Unfortunate. Italy acquires nuclear weaponry. The Italian government announced earlier today that it successfully tested an atomic bomb earlier this week in the Sahara Desert. Furthermore, the Italians have used this news to announce the expansion of the Italian nuclear program. The news has shocked the entire world as the Italians seemed nowhere near to acquire nuclear weaponry. The ascension of Italy to a nuclear state is something that will drastically impact foreign relations with the rest of the world. Italy's former friends and triumvirate must now tread carefully around the former ally, and America and Japan must now most likely treat the Italians as an equal. Unspoken elephant in the room, however, is the German Reich. The two powers have always had a cold relationship, but the Italians acquiring an atomic bomb, it is clear that the German-Italian relationships will become even more tense than before. It seems that the Cold War is doomed to escalate even further. Who doesn't love escalations? So is there even a focus tree for the next president? We have very weak impact on the environment, but that's okay. But global warming's not real. It's 1972. We have forever to worry about that. Guns for Democracy is going to take 35 days. You got bonuses against close air support. Okay. I mean, hopefully all this does solve the oil crisis, because it might not. Which would be depressing. I'm guessing oh, okay. I'm guessing China is actually just not going to go to war. It might just not have the ability to do it. Stellar NPP campaign! Fantastic. After that, I mean, is there anywhere we don't have a strong lead? The Great Lakes and the East Coast. So I guess we go for the Great Lakes next, but we're dominating every single state. All of them are just being dominated by us. I'm surprised that the left MPP have no seats. They have 12% party support. But surprisingly, like, nobody... Like, the far right has 17% support. Yeah, I think they're the second biggest party in the Senate. Right? Yeah, they're the second biggest party. Second biggest group, whatever you want to call it. We go with Operation Desert Shield. You have negative 4 in political power. We're only getting 0.29 a day. Fine. It's okay. You are decisions available. Campaign. We're going to want to campaign in the Great Lakes region. And we're getting close. Election 1972 is on its way. Well, who's president? Like, I haven't gotten any pop-ups about who's actually running for president. Is it? Oh no, there we go. The National Progressive Party is holding a convention in Miami Beach, Florida, in the midst of one of the greatest cultural exchanges in American history. Is that the river baiting through the party has long prided itself on representing the interests of those left behind by the Republican Democrats. But the issues are now moving away from the debates about civil rights for African Americans, the extent of social welfare, and how best to defeat Japan and reclaim the lost Pacific territories, which we've taken a lot of them back. Now issues over homosexuality, abortion, drugs, and others are claiming the attention of all sides of the MPP. In the end, none of the candidates received enough delegates to win the primaries, leading to a brokered convention. The two leaders were Senator Henry Scoop Jackson of Washington State, leading the CNPP, and advocating for social welfare programs, and Jean Kirkpatrick, the Congresswoman from Oklahoma, and one of the strongest proponents and defenders of neoconservative movements that have coalesced in our far-right NPP. However, it all comes down to the ballots of delegates at Miami Beach Convention Center. After a long day of night of voting, the chairperson taking the stage to announce the results is... Well, 25-17. I mean, they're winning every single state. Sure, let's do Henry Jackson. We'll see if he gets it this time. Who did we have running last time? I completely forgot. Not that it really matters so much again, because I don't think there's any content for the next president. Okay, research slot. Let's go. Because people seem to like the Great Society as a whole. And who's going to be running for the Republican Democrats? Because we haven't gotten a pop-up there. Polls have been updated. NPP still have a strong lead everywhere in every single election. I honestly think that those numbers just might be broken a little bit, to be quite honest. We'll see if they actually end up winning every state. The 1972 Republican Democratic primaries. The primaries and caucuses are over, and now over 1,000 delegates from every state and territory in the Union are converging on Miami Beach Convention Center for the opponent city of Florida. As the RDs gather at the end of the era of Lyndon B. Johnson, having already served the traditional 2 terms of president, is stepping down. The top of the ticket now open. Many have thrown their hats into the ring to take up the reins. However, the fight is boiled down to 2-horse race between Ford Motor Company executive Robert McNamara and South Dakota Senator George McGovern. McNamara is seeking to be business efficiency to governing, representing a more mainstream opinion of the Republican Democratic. The RD party is a moderate Democrat, but McGovern is a staunchly liberal Republican with unofficial slogan of acid amnesty abortion to become more divisive across the nation. Sounds like he's having a great time. And is posing a major question for delegates at the convention. McGovern claims that he can take some votes from the NPP Senator wing, forging a new coalition that can expand America's progressive future, while McNamara's supporters are claiming that McGovern will destroy the Republican Democratic Party and hand victory over the NPP. However, questions between both abroad. Is McGovern too far left-wing to hold the RDs together? Is McNamara's business experience a boon or a hindrance? Many Republican Democrats are expressing dismay that there is the only viable options at this time. Especially after the successful Lyndon B. Johnson presidency, and raising concerns for lack of support and fracturing party unity. Well, I mean, the Republicans have way more support, right? They gained seats in the last election. So we're going to go for George McGovern, soon to be the head of the McGovernment. Also, where did my thing go? Yeah, there we go. Thanks. Put that right there. A little bit too late for that to be on the thing, but that's okay. It's stream information if you were curious. So, we will see who wins the election, because apparently the NPP are going to win every single state. The Republican Democratic Party has collapsed. So, the Yankees and the far right are currently voting together. The NPP left and the NPP center are currently voting together, and the Republicans and the NPP center are currently voting together. So we still have a majority of the votes. The Democrats are kind of just doing their own thing. I don't know what their plans are. Sure, we'll also do the Desert Scouts. Yeah, the Republican Democrats just don't exist anymore. They've bottomed out. The invitation. Mr. President, I hope this letter finds you. One of the silver letters of our civil war, as I'm sure your people are inclined to agree, is the opportunity for a new Germany to rise up from the ashes and mend the wounds our forebears have created. Included amongst the mistakes for Hitler's Reich was the alienation of our nations from yours. Historically, our peoples have been like brothers, and our lands have exchanged populations many times, even in the recent past. Where does your beloved hamburger come from but our own migrants, your Frankfurt? Where did your national spirit, born in the fires of 1848, come from but the revolutionary fervor of your own war of independence? It is a fierce wish that our countries might find common ground once more, a discussion of differences at least, and perhaps a partnership that can extend well into the future. As I'm sure you'll agree, Mr. President, the world is rapidly changing with the collapse of alliances, discord in Africa, and the emergence of an unpredictable Japan. The better friends we have, the better chance our world has of persevering. I hope that you can become a dialogue between our office and yours. We look forward to your reply with great interest. Helmut Schmidt, Reich's Minister of Foreign Affairs. A modern Van Stupend. Intriguing to say the least. So we'll see if we can get Germany to not be horrible. No national focus set. We've agreed to your invitation. Must agree to the Sleeves Rights Treaty. So does that have a new option here? Not as far as I can tell, at least not yet. We have 2 more months until the election. No, we have 3 more months until the election begins. Let us do this. The Grand Hall have been chosen for a grand event. The convoy housing the American delegation navigates its winding road up the ornate front, gates of the venue. Inside the armored vehicles, OFN ambassadors stare at the impression of the carefully placed iconography on one side, consecutive German and American flags on the other, the same pattern of unity pact of OFN flags. The press already there, God bless them, the whole scene being filmed and broadcast across the English and German-speaking worlds. Out of this convoy, men in fine suits and ties smile for the cameras at entrance to the hall. Nervous energy buzzed around the room as the greatest diplomatic minds of the OFN and the Pact sit opposite each other in the center of the hall, navigating the outskirts of the room. Journalists take notes, and official photographers snap the occasional picture. In the center of the Pact's delegation, a man puts out a cigarette and adjusts his tie, needing his clothes to match his perfectly combed graying brown hair. So, gentlemen, Holman Schmidt began. Shall we begin? Germany agrees to America First policy. A breakthrough in the negotiations today, as the Pact has allowed the United States exclusive rights to trade in part of a new American First policy to bring the two nations closer together economically and symbolically. The United States has been given first choice of exports and preference over other nations and goods produced in Germany. In return, the United States agrees to move to ending the embargo surrounding the Reich. Sometimes the economic opportunities provided in trade must be considered above mere political ideals. With new business partner extending in olive branch, it seems irrational to continue such a destructive policy. Yes, give me all of your bonuses. The Toronto Accords. Reformers cause the right to simply benefit from this. The Toronto Accords. So we get a little pop-up here? I mean, probably. We're all meeting up in Toronto. Just hanging out in the, hanging out in the CN Tower. CN Tower existed in 1972? Almost, I think. Burgundian bunker. Shocking news out of the Hermit Sea of Europe today as the Swiss government reports that Burgundy has begun construction of a series of large bunkers in the Western Alps. The move has earned much scorn from critics of the Reich, who say that they are hiding holes for Burgundian leadership in the case of armed conflict with Germany. The Ortstadt, in a rare communication with the outside world, has issued condemnation of the infamous lies of the Swiss, but has not denied they are building bunkers. It remains to be seen why they are wasting time on the matter. Maybe a, no, everything's fine. We're all good. Is there anywhere we need to even campaign, to be honest? Like, I guess the East Coast is kind of where we're still lacking the most. I mean, we could still end up with, like, the disastrous campaign, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're still going to be fine. For the most part. Home of the brave. Political power, Schmidt on the East Coast. I don't know which one. I can't click on any of these. Schmidt sees the East Coast. Conservatives in the Reich benefit from this. With the embargo lifted against us, the Reich can finally open the filling its coffers with American investments. You're way too expensive, so Lino, let's go for armor and breakthrough. Don't need to worry about you. I'm assuming you're just about the campaign on the East Coast. The Toronto Accord ends this afternoon. Diplomats from Germany and America have signed the Toronto Accords. The Americans, after more than a little deliberation, have finally agreed to end the trade embargo that stood against Germany in the last decade. Both governments are quietly optimistic about what the future holds for both nations. Skeptics ask themselves, though, will these new overtures survive an administrative change? Some normal Burgundian preppers. I'm sure everything's fine. Burgundy, please don't nuke the planet. Just, that's all I'm asking. And we have, things are looking pretty good. Negative 383 political power. Much better than any time we've been in the past. How are we guys doing here? Got a lot of, like, kind of flip-flop votes. Still controlled by the Republican Democrat Party. I'm assuming this never actually goes away. Like, it never formally breaks apart, even though the Democrats are not voting with us right now, but that's kind of fine. Because the far right and the center do not vote together in their party, as far as I can tell. It's 2:15 in the morning. Should have ended the stream like an hour ago, but it's all good. Stellar NPP campaign. After that, like, are they going to win anything? I don't think so. Schmidt sees the East Coast. Foreign Minister Schmidt and his diplomatic entourage arrived on the East Coast to begin a sweeping tour across many of our coastal states. From hunting in the vast woods of northern Maine to visiting the native creative Etowah Mounds in Georgia to touring towns, factories, and other landmarks over the eastern seaboard, the German have hopefully garnered a much better understanding of American culture and livelihood. We have, at the very least, given the foreign minister a highly interesting trip, and hopefully the hospitality we've shown to their representatives of our own hospitable enemies will bear fruit and form of improved relations. It's all going well. It's going well, I would say. We could do some more stuff for the Middle East, but I really don't think we need to. I don't even think we want to, honestly. So you have 15 days left. Then we do the use. That's 50 days. So just about when the election happens, we should get all of these things finished. The 1972 election debates, Jackson versus McGovern. While urban machines exchanged deals for votes and committees arranged donation drives and canvases as they always had, America's voting public speculated on the quadrennial traditions, most recent addition to comforts at home of the nation. At the Walnut Street Theater in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, NPP candidate Henry Scoop Jackson engaged his Republican Democratic counterpart George McGovern in the first of a series of televised presidential debates covering topics of both foreign and domestic. Below is an expert from their heated exchange that night. Jackson: I know you're fond of prepping your speeches with appeals to mankind's good nature. Give peace a chance if it were. Incidentally, I've also recalled hearing roughly the same twice before. First from Neville Chamberlain, the second from none other than Joe Kennedy. You can imagine how history has treated the naivety since. The presidency may demand no small amount of risk-taking from its occupant, but even if I'm not foolhardily enough to tempt fate a third time, are you then Mr. McGovern? McGovern: We have fallen so far from grace that we now criticize policy out of superstition, Mr. Jackson. My vote speaks to lament the families of our lost families, brothers and sons, to wars 1,000 miles from home. I tire as they do of noble crusades dreamt by old men of a nation of young men to live vicariously through. You say I'm naive, uncaring of the evils of profit of goodwill. I see the future of America, a bereft dream, is worth fighting for despite these evils, and nothing more American than fighting the good fight. Let's side with Jackson. Because I'm curious if the Republicans still win. I think there is still a chance the Republicans win this out. Maybe. Research slot available. Sure. Anti-tank 4 or 5, whatever number that was. We'll go with that one. The Godfather releases. Acclaimed director Francis Ford Coppola's newest biggest feature film, The Godfather, has struck like lightning at theaters across America. Based on Mario Puzo's best-selling crime novel of the same name, The Godfather tells the story of the Corleone family of New York City's most powerful organized crime syndicate. It's Don Vito Corleone is an honorable and respected Sicilian immigrant. His position among New York's 5 families, though, is being threatened by growing heroin trade. This conflict sprouts into a bloody gang war which claims Sonny, Vito's eldest child. After Vito promises to end the war, his second son, Michael, a veteran of Scotland, begins to take control of the Corleone Empire. In 1955, Vito dies and Michael exacts his revenge on the 5 families in a vicious series of assassinations, establishing his status as the new godfather of the Mafia. The Godfather garnered rave reviews. Critics around the country are praising the performances of legendary Marlon Brando as Vito and budding young Al Pacino as Michael. Others have acclaimed the score, editing and themes of immigration and family, seeing as a parable of America's complicated relationship to Italy. Many are already calling Godfather the best film of 1972. It would seem that Mr. Quella has made Hollywood an offer it can't refuse. I should see The Godfather at some point. It's one of those movies I feel like you should see at some point. Schmidt meets the president. In celebration of a successful diplomatic talk between Germany and America, the head of the German government, diplomat, yada yada yada, give peace a chance. Future perfect. So we have 1 more month till the election is ready. 35 days actually is not enough. Right? 30 days? No, it's going to be just enough, because I think the election is what? November 11th? Is it always November 11th? Or is it just like the second Tuesday of November? I'm not actually 100% too sure. But this should finish just in time. Still want to go for the East Coast. Keep campaigning in New York. Keep campaigning in Pennsylvania. You can get these guys on our side. They got a strong lead in so many places. Like, it's just straight NPP, 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 NPP. It's just all of it. we still don't know what you guys are actually doing. Which is a little bit worrying. Like, do any of you guys actually have any focuses anymore? I don't think so. And we're close to the election, which means I can finally end the stream and, like, go to bed or something. Or eat food. I'm getting a little bit hungry. This has been, like, a pretty decently length stream as well, I would say. Just a few more weeks. The election will be called. Research slot. Let's go for, I guess, you. I mean, again, it doesn't really matter so much. I still don't think we're going to be going to war with anybody. It's going to be done in... Yeah, no, but, like, you should be finished in, like, 1 week. Kind of close to say, though. Are we achieving one-party statehood? Who knows? Just everybody's going to be part of the NPP after this election, maybe. But I don't think the NPP is going to win every state, even though it says they will lead everywhere. I don't trust it. Do we have any focuses we can even do anymore? I guess we can do, like, the military ones. But I mean, who cares? Stellar NPP. I guess we'll go for... Actually, don't do anything. We'll just gain 1 political power per day. Then the elections have finished. The far right got 19 seats. The Republican Party and the Democratic Party have lost 19 seats. So the far right has won every single seat. And, yeah, no, the election... The NPP have won. 19 far right. So who's in the Senate now? 46. They actually just control it. The election day. I don't think you have any more information. Yeah, the far right is now the biggest party. Is the biggest group. But I mean, LBJ is still president. I mean, he's still president until January. But, like, my question is, do they actually have it programmed for the next president? I don't know. I do not know. We did get a lot of the Great Society passed. There's no denying that. But even then, I don't think we could enact anything else, right? Like, at this point, we don't have majority of the votes. We couldn't pass anything else even if we wanted to at this point. I mean, I'm curious. Because it's January 20th, right? When you fire. So, you know, we'll wait until January 20th. I know, again, I think it's like the 4th time I've extended the length of the campaign. But we'll see. Because if on January 20th, the president comes in and there's no focus tree, that's kind of just going to be the end of the series, obviously. Because there's really not much else you can do once you have nothing else to do. The NPP, though, just absolutely crushed it. Like, it wasn't even a contest. Then election results are in. Polls are updated. Yeah, no, we know. I mean, the NPP presidential election, yeah, will be hidden. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, the Democrats basically just don't exist. Unsurprisingly, when we force through all of our reforms, it does make some people a little bit mad. But the fact that the far right won every single seat, I'm actually surprised by. Because now we don't have the votes. Because we have 35, so that's 43, which isn't enough, unfortunately. The Democrats are just doing absolutely nothing. I'm surprised the left never got a single seat. So I'm assuming if you want the NPP left, you probably have to reject the civil rights movement at the very beginning of the campaign. I would imagine so, at least. Like, I don't see how, because they haven't gotten a single seat, and they haven't even played any role in this whole campaign. Even though they do have 12% support, they almost have as much support as the far right do. And yet they actually never showed up. Like, we couldn't even do anything if we wanted to. Even if we wanted to. I mean, we got a lot of stuff done. For sure. Like, we got all you done. We got all you done. I don't think we can, yeah, be strong. I mean, this is better than 8 years. Still okay. A decrease in poverty. Thanks to our great poverty relief efforts and expansion of the economy, the poverty rate has decreased significantly. Ability goes up, construction speed. Well, that's nice. We still have negative 11% stability, but it is what it is. I mean, it took us a while because we even had massive poverty for a long time. Left are literally commies and socialist. Yeah, so it makes more sense that they probably show up if you just did not do the civil rights movement and just rejected it. On the 20th is when the president should be inaugurated, and we'll just see if there's anything there. I mean, it still shows LBJ, so I'm assuming there actually is no more progress to be made, unfortunately. Oh wait, we got a little pop up. Something's showing up here. Yeah, but you don't have any focus trees, right? America Rising. Friends, Americans, I stand before you today not only as President of the United States, but as a symbol of what it stands for. I've always believed that America is, and forever shall be, the home of democracy, not a hotbed of extremism nor hatred. Now inaugurated, I will see that my belief was correct. Today we celebrate not a victory of a single party or ideology, but a freedom of Americans, and freedoms yet to come. For I have sworn for both God and the nation I so dearly love, the same oaths of our forebears have taken for centuries. Now, however, in the year of our Lord 1972, the world is not as it was 2 centuries ago. Evil powers have grown across the world, and America stands as the only power not to fall to their inexorable march of hatred. I say unto you, America, that we will continue to stand. We will continue to fight for liberty as our forefathers did for so long. We shall never forget that we are the heirs of the revolution, heirs of freedom's torchbearers. Let the world know that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans, one born in the century, tempered by victory and disciplined through defeat. This generation is proud of its heritage, and as with its predecessors, we will continually prove unwilling to allow human rights and civil liberties, to which our nation has always been committed, to be taken away from the peoples of the world. Let all, foreign or otherwise, know that America will support her allies, aid the downtrodden, and strike at the evil, all in defense of liberty. And I don't think, I'm assuming the Great Society stuff is just gone. There is no more focuses here. Henry Jackson been inaugurated President of the United States. Okay. Do you have a little description? You have a description. I know that there's like a thing in the New Order, like an ending slideshow, but I don't know if that's going to show up or not. Because again, like that, like we're at the end. There's nothing past this point. Unfortunately, we have reached the conclusion, so to speak. But it was fun. It's nice to play like the full campaign here. And once, like at some point, they plan on having what 30 years of content or something like that, going to like the 1990s. It's gonna be like an insane amount of the content. But thanks everybody for watching our campaign here. I'm not too sure who we're going to be playing as next, but we will be definitely playing another New Order campaign soon, very soon. But have a great night. If you are not already, remember to follow the channel. If you want to support me for only $4.99 per month, you can click the subscribe button. And otherwise, you can go to YouTube, join Discord, or follow me on Twitter for updates and stuff like that. But have a good night and goodbye.